Welcome to White Rice, Brown Rice. Let's dig into the flavorful mix of interracial relationships. From cultural quirks to family dynamics, we're serving up fresh perspectives on love, laughter, and all things Asian Caucasian. So grab your chopsticks and forks because it's time to mix it up. Hey, girl, welcome back. You ready to mix it up? Yes, let's mix it. So we left last episode. You promised us a story about why you hate the rain. I'm so curious. Yeah. So when it rains, even to this day, I have flashbacks of when I was growing up, and the rain meant it was time for the whole family to go outside. So as soon as it got dark, my mom would say, "Okay, go get your light." I'm like, do we have to, Mom? I don't want to go. It's wet. It's cold." She's like, "Go get your light." And we all get a headlamp. We each had our own and an empty can of soup or whatever. We'd each get an empty can, our light, and we would have to go outside and fill at least 2 cans with worms. In our front yard, our backyard, we'd go to the neighbor's house in their yard. My mom would say, "Time to go pick the worm." And then, for what? Like, were you fishermen? No. We sold it to the fishermen for, I don't know, $3, $5 a can, something
Wow.
like that. I don't know. But when you have a family of 7 and everybody's picking worms, that's a lot of cash.
Yeah.
That's the dinner for the week.
But I
So
can just imagine being a neighbor and looking out my window and just seeing like 7 headlamps.
yeah, like
Cruising
teenagers,
around.
mom, dad, Asian kneeling, picking worms. It wasn't like bent over. We're all Asian squat, squat,
Yeah.
squat, squat, squat.
What was the feeling in that moment? Like, was it just dread? Was it embarrassment? What was it?
I think before I was 5 years old, it was just, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
And then once I realized white people don't do this, and actually most families don't do this, it was just
Yeah.
my family, it became embarrassment. Embarrassment for a few reasons. I think just the actual action of picking worms,
Mhm.
and also the need, oh, our family needs to pick worms to pay for groceries next week or pay for whatever.
So did any friends ever see you do this?
No, I didn't grow up hanging out with friends often.
Okay. So you grew up in an area with a lot of Asians, no Asians?
Very minimal Asians.
Were
My
there any other Asians at your school?
my high school had my sister.
Okay, your family doesn't count. Like, we know they go to your school.
Okay, maybe 2 other Asian families.
Okay.
But we didn't hang out socially because we were Cambodian, and there was one Chinese family and a Vietnamese family. And Cambos and Vietnamese don't normally hang out. But now I think they do now. They just didn't back when I was growing up. So, but there was not a lot of Asians. I grew up in a small town, and it was your Portuguese, Lebanese, Italian, or Mexican Mennonite. Those were the top.
It's a pretty diverse community then.
Oh, it was very diverse.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not
So
like-
it wasn't just white people that you were surrounded with.
but not knowing the difference back then, it was just all white people to me.
Sure.
They're still just white people,
Okay.
but they had culture.
Mhm.
It wasn't like
White. Like me.
European white.
Like
Yeah,
me.
like you. Yeah, we didn't.
White bread. Got
We
it.
didn't have white bread like that, white rice like that.
Mhm.
It was cultural Lebanese or Portuguese, Italian, but not a lot of Asians in the town.
So you shared your worm story. Obviously, your parents had jobs for you or certain expectations growing up. So, what were the household chores or parental expectations for you?
So growing up as a child, there was no like go outside and play. The expectation was
you're either cooking or cleaning. So we would wake up, okay, it's time. You have to vacuum. Your job is to mop. Your job is to wash the dishes. Your job is to do laundry. And everybody had a job that day. And you really didn't have downtime until your job was done, which ultimately it was never done because we lived in a small house with 7 of us. So
So did you have to do that on school days?
every day.
So you'd have to wake up before school and mop, or is that when you got home from school?
No, that would be after dinner.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Before school was waking up, making you breakfast, making your lunch, if you made lunch. But
Did you ever get school lunch, or were you like
Never.
the Asian that brought the Asian food?
I brought the fried rice.
Yeah.
I brought the stinky fish. I brought the stir fry.
What was that like at the cafeteria table?
Everyone's like, oh my God, what is that? Yeah, it was bad. It was bad because people didn't know back
It was,
then.
yeah, and it wasn't cool to be diverse.
Nope.
I feel like it's cool now.
I always
some
wanted
extent.
a sandwich. And I finally said, Mom, can you please make me a bologna sandwich? And she goes, you want me to make you a sandwich? What you put in sandwich? I'm like, okay, we'll just get some like bread and we'll put some meat in there. So she tried her best. And when I opened up my lunch, I had toasted white bread with butter, and she didn't do cheese. She put a piece of bologna and ketchup
Mhm.
and closed it up.
Was it delicious?
I thought it was delicious.
So we have this running joke in our household: white people love sandwiches.
Yeah.
I mean, my husband's family did make a career out of making sandwiches for white people, and they're doing really well. They're very successful. And I still love sandwiches to this day.
Yeah.
So half the house, my husband hates sandwiches. He's like, that's white people food.
Yeah.
And I've got one daughter that won't touch a sandwich. And then me and the other daughter, we could eat a sandwich 3 times a day.
Right.
It's so great.
Yeah.
So my husband's favorite meal to this day is meatloaf, because he would get it when he went to his white best friend's house, and he always wanted his parents to cook a meatloaf. They don't even know what meatloaf is, but
No.
he loves meatloaf. So the way
Yeah.
to my husband's heart is
Meatloaf.
make a meatloaf. And that's the most boring food people
I
would
love meatloaf too.
but it's nostalgic for him or something. It's like the white people food he never had.
Well, in our house, my dad would get TV dinners for himself. We would be like the special white people food.
Those were
Would
so
be the
gross.
Swanson
Oh,
TV dinners.
gross.
And it was just for dad because dad
Okay.
worked. Dad worked
Mhm.
hard. Dad got the special
Those were
meal.
expensive too, I think,
Yes.
back in the day.
Well, they were like 99 cents, but it was still
It was a
just-
treat.
It was a
So-
treat. It wasn't something we had. So he would get the turkey Swanson dinner
Mhm.
or the meatloaf. Or not the meatloaf, Salisbury steak.
Oh, that's the
So now I could throw back 2 Swanson meals because my
No.
dad would share with me and
Oh.
me only. And
'Cause you were the baby.
I
You're
love
special.
TV dinners now.
Okay, I like the brownies that
No,
came in
we
there
never- we-
because they were like fresh baked.
Sweet.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I just eat the brownie, but that was not meat. That Salisbury steak, I don't know what it is.
I feel like it was good back then.
Maybe
I
it
think
was,
It's different now.
but it was still disgusting even back then. I think my mom tried sometimes because she's like, I don't want to make dinner. Here's a TV dinner. And we'd be like, we're not eating that disgusting.
And see
I'll
how
bless
funny
you.
it is? It was like such a treat in our house
Right.
to open up a TV dinner and microwave it. Like that was like living
Oh, I can
large.
still see it. Like
I'm
yeah, with
craving it
the
now.
red sauce like stuck on the side.
This was the best, and you
Oh my gosh, no way.
and red
No.
sauce, gravy.
There was red sauce in something I had. I distinctly remember red in my mind. I'm picturing red.
Maybe the cranberry and the turkey one.
Oh, I don't know that I had the turkey. I don't know which ones I had, but they were all gross.
Okay, describe your Saturday morning as a child, and we're talking
Cartoons.
Yeah,
Cartoons. It was Saturday morning cartoons back then.
we did that too. Then after cartoons,
Oh, I think we were always involved in things.
sports and activities. So we were probably going on to sports events, right? I don't know. I remember cartoons and then that's it. We had to do chores, not to the extent that you did. I think we were responsible for things. So there was probably some chores involved on Saturdays. It wouldn't have been like an after school thing. Just because my mom, she stayed at home for quite some time. And then when I was a little older, maybe like upper elementary school, she went back to work. So then we had a little bit more chores. But by then I was like old enough to do chores. I didn't have to do chores at like 5. That would have been like child labor or something. So we did chores immediately after cartoons. And it was like the big stuff, like mopping the entire house or vacuuming the entire house or doing all the laundry. So we'd rotate that amongst the siblings, the girls. The boys didn't have the same chores as us. I don't even know what they did. They worked outside of the home. So mopping, my mom bought like janitor size industrial mop set.
Okay.
Like with the and yeah, the big like it was the same one they had at my school when I was going to school. We had the exact same set.
Okay.
And that's what we used to mop the house. I dislike mopping so much because of that experience. Even with the new age spray mops. Well, yes, I do that, but
Much more convenient.
much more convenient. But when Rich and I first got married, I convinced him to buy the big industrial size because I was
the only
just,
way you knew how to mop.
yeah.
You wanna know what's funny? The only way I knew how to mop was on my hands and knees. Because my grandmother, she would on her hands and knees with a washcloth, so you could get into every nook and cranny. I'm a little anal when it comes to cleaning, and that's part of my own upbringing,
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, hands and knees. I still to this day, hands and knees. I'm worried about when I get really old and I
How
can't
you
get
getting up?
My grandmother did it till the day she died. She died in her 80s. So if I just keep doing it, I won't lose the ability, right? Yeah. So what about school though? What were the expectations about school and grades, behavior and participation? School was always A+ or nothing. If you got less than an A+, you didn't do your work. But they always had the high expectation without the support, if that makes sense. Sure, they didn't help you with your homework.
There was no tutoring. There was no helping with homework. There was no, hey, it's time for you to do your homework guidance. It was just, you do you, but the expectation is you get an A+.
Got it.
Did you? Yes.
All through high school?
Not through high school. 9th grade. I got A's and B's in high school in 9th grade because I didn't have to try hard. Grade school, A+, yes. 9th grade, I was like discovering a little more things. And then by 11th grade, I realized, shit, I have to go to college. I need to go to university.
Yeah.
I have to bring my B's to A+. So I changed the group of people that I hung out when I realized I need these grades to get into university. I kind of shifted my friend group.
Got it.
And got the grades. Yeah, it was just all about effort, but there was no guidance from my parents. Like today, if my son had a difficulty in math, we'd sit and do math together and help him go through it or get a tutor or whatever the needs are.
There wasn't much different in my household. I think because my parents were both working and my mom was a high school dropout. And so she didn't finish high school. She went back maybe when I was in middle school to get her diploma.
Oh, nice.
So they didn't really have the skills. Like they couldn't help me with algebra.
Right.
Right. But I think no, I take that back. They never hired me a tutor. If I needed help, it was up to me to go talk to the teacher,
Figure it out.
But there was still the expectation that you need A's and B's. We used to get paid for A's.
Yes.
And paid for B's, but it was not a lot for B's. So there was motivation there. And the expectation was you have to go to college. They didn't care where, when, how.
So it's similar.
Similar, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that was maybe compared to now in our families were not highly educated. And so they
Yeah.
just wanted us to do better,
Yeah.
right? Now that we have, I think, the experience of being college educated and the experience of learning and how to learn, I think we're better equipped to help our kids.
Right. And I think my perspective on my kids is I do expect higher education, but want them to explore trades, obviously, and
Mm.
entrepreneurship
Yeah,
and
we know
other fields,
there's not just one way.
not just academic.
And that's the only way our parents knew.
Yes.
My dad worked really hard as a heating and cooling technician. And he was, don't do the trades. You're going to work hard till the day you die. Don't do that. Get smart. And so we did. All of us got degrees. And I'm kind of grateful because I saw the way he worked. It was really hard. 7 days a week, midnight shifts. Like my dad worked really hard. And I don't want to do that. I like sitting. I work very hard with my mind,
Right.
but not necessarily with my body. So I feel like I can do my job longer.
Yeah.
As I get older, I'm still, as long as I don't get dementia.
So do you have the same expectation for your girls?
No, I think I would love for them to explore
Yeah.
what they're passionate about. But we have conversations all the time because they're very privileged.
Yeah.
Their dad and I work really hard. They love eating things like steak and scallops and lobster. So they're very Asian in their eating. They love seafood. They love duck, right? And these things are expensive. And so we tell them all the time, you can do what you want, but you want to maintain this lifestyle. You have to consider how much you're going to get paid. So I think we're having both of those conversations. Do what you want, but there's also a reality to life. If you want a certain level of lifestyle, then you got to find a job that's going to support that financially, right? But I also think there's a lot of conversation in our family specifically about the
Balance?
balance between work and pleasure, work and family.
Yeah.
My husband's parents, probably similar to yours, they were immigrants. They worked
All the time.
100-hour a week all the time. They were not around,
Yeah.
right? My husband was raised by his grandmother. So we don't want to be like that. And my dad, I don't remember him being around a whole lot. He worked 7 days a week, midnights. So I'd see him for like an hour at night, like as he was waking up to go to work before I went to bed. And then every once in a while, he'd have a holiday off.
Right.
And that was it. So we want to be there to see our kids grow up. So King and I have really tried to find that balance
Yeah.
and maybe de-emphasize work a bit, where his parents and probably your parents didn't have that luxury.
No.
Like they had to.
So I think it's more of like a generational shift, right, in the thinking, because it's not culturally, because I feel like our parents had the same mindset
for sure.
and working where they weren't there for us growing up per se. They went to work, provided for us, but they weren't involved in our lives the way we are involved in our children's lives.
Yeah, but did that kind of fuck you up?
That they weren't around for that?
Yeah.
Some things.
See
Like
that?
some important things I really wish they cared to go.
Yeah. My problem is the love-hate of that relationship. I have to respect my parents for the amount of effort that they put into providing for us.
Yeah.
And King feels the same way. He has so much respect for his parents. But the flip side of that is our little selves didn't understand that. And for me, I felt like that made me a part of me angry. Right. And there was some animosity towards my dad. You're a fucking asshole. Like, you're not around. Why are you telling me to do anything?
Right.
Right. You're not my parent.
I'm going to listen to mom. Like, you just waltz in here. I see you for an hour a day and you're going to try to tell me what to do. Like, you don't know me.
Right.
So there was issues with that. And I've had to work those issues out for myself. But it's tricky because you see it from like your child perspective. And then as an adult, you're like, oh, fuck.
Right.
That's why he was an asshole and not around.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like my parents didn't show up for high school graduation.
Oh, see, he did that. Like my
No.
parents did that.
They didn't realize like those things were important. I don't know if they didn't realize it, but like we never went to my university graduation. Either of them. I had two. I don't even think I went.
Well, not everybody did that. I went specifically because I was the first one to graduate college. So I took my grandparents and parents. It was a very proud moment, I think, for the whole family
Yeah.
because I was the first one. But not a lot of people went.
Just looking back, it was like big milestones to me were things that they weren't involved in, like track and field. Could make state finals, and then you get on a bus and I tell my parents about it. They're like, "Oh, that's so good, honey. Get $20. You go buy yourself food, okay?" And I'm gone. I'm 10 years old, 11, maybe 12, whatever. And I'm on the bus at 6 a.m. and I don't come home till 9 o'clock at night.
Mhm.
And there's zero.
No phones, no nothing. Back
Where's
then.
Suzanne? She's at track.
You could have been taken across state lines for all they knew.
Right. And my kid is gone from 6 a.m. on a bus
Yeah.
of random people traveling to Sarnia for track and field.
Yeah.
I would have been on that damn bus. Like, I'm on that bus. But that's where the difference is, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that most of it is my parents were working. My dad was working. My mom worked for a little bit when we first came to Canada. She didn't work her whole time here. She was mostly stay-at-home mom. But she also didn't drive. So that was difficult because she needed my dad to drive
Right.
her at all times. He was the chauffeur.
So did they work together? Like in the same place?
No. She worked for a seatbelt manufacturing company, and he worked for a tomato canning company,
Okay.
which is still open and running. Like when he retired from there, he mowed the lawn.
Oh,
They let Daddy-O get on the lawnmower because he wanted to do something still. So I
Sure.
think they paid him to mow the lawn like twice a week or something. But he loved that riding lawnmower.
Yeah.
Interesting.
it was probably the thing
They
you could
forced
never
it.
afford. Right.
Look at me. I hate it. Yeah. Woohoo. I never thought of that. Yeah, we could
Yeah.
never afford a riding lawnmower.
Sure. No. I don't think a lot of people could back in the day. But no, we had the push. And I grew up, I had a huge yard. Oh,
It wasn't
okay.
even electric.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. With the
But
blades on it.
That shit
That-
was heavy.
Yeah. And you had to push it through long grass. That's tough.
Yeah.
Well, we had a push mower and we had a huge yard. Have you ever been in my parents' house?
No.
So they still live in the house I grew up in. And we had a huge yard. It had to be close to an acre. Like it's in the middle of a city, but the way it was set up, it was a double lot. And that was probably what I did a lot of Saturdays was cutting that lawn. Me and my brother used to have to cut it. And it had to be bagged. Like, I don't understand why, but it had to be bagged.
Didn't have the catcher.
No, it did. Yeah, it did have the catcher, but like you had to dump it,
Okay.
right? But you would make one pass. This is how big the yard was. You'd make one pass and have to dump the bag. So it would take you hours. It probably took 5 hours to cut the lawn. So that's probably what I did with my Saturdays, now that I think about it. And I started cutting the grass when I was like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
So the other thing I'm curious about is you in school. Not to switch topics totally, but what was it like being one of the only Asian kids? Were you accepted? Were you not accepted?
I did not realize I was really Asian until I was in high school.
Okay.
And someone made a comment, some racial slur. And I was like,
Were you talking
you
about?
talking to me? I'm white.
You're definitely not
I-
white.
I know, but I didn't feel, no, my school was great. There was
Actually, I had a teacher that made a comment once to me as well
Oh,
in high school. To me and my best friend at the time, and she was Lebanese. And we were late for class, and the national anthem was playing. And we're, I think, in 11th grade. And we were standing there in the hallway waiting, probably started giggling at some point, and he looked over at us and he said, "If you two can't be respectful, you get back in your boat and you go back to where you came from."
oh my God.
And that was probably the first time I ever had like a racial slur by an adult.
Yeah.
Kids used to
As a
we used to
teacher.
do like ching chong ching ching or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
even, and I was like, I don't even know what that means. What does
Right.
ching chong ching ching mean?
Right.
It doesn't sound like you're
Chinese,
speaking.
Japanese, dirty knees, that
Yeah,
whole
I
thing.
didn't really, I never heard that really.
Yeah. It was crazy, these slurs that I think were pretty commonplace that were, I'm going to say, innocent because I don't think the kids really knew what they
Right.
meant. Right. But no adult ever corrected us saying, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like, we don't say those things. So yeah, I cringe when I think about some of the things that I used to say very unknowingly. Because I'm sure that there's a time when I got caught up in maybe being not very sympathetic to
Right.
other cultures, as I think sometimes kids do, especially in a predominantly white area.
Mm-hmm.
But I get cringy when I think about some of the things that were said, me included. Sorry to anybody that I might have said something to.
Apology
Sorry.
accepted.
No, and I do hear things that like King grew up in the same area and things that were said. So my school actually had a pretty, I'll say, large minority of Asians. I'd probably say 20,
A
30.
lot.
It's a lot because I graduated with like 180 in my graduating class.
Oh.
But there was a huge immigrant population of Hmong
Mm-hmm.
in Warren, and they were scattered throughout. So they didn't just go to my high school. Warren has 5 districts in it.
Yeah.
But they excluded themselves, right? I don't remember anyone, like white people, actually being friends with them. Like they stayed very central to their own group. And the only time that I remembered them being kind of like called out was once there was this fight in high school and a white kid and a Hmong kid got in a fight. And within seconds, I witnessed this. Within seconds, there was probably 20 Hmong kids jumping this white person because you fuck with one, you fuck with us all type of mentality.
Yeah.
And then nobody fucked with them again. It was like, oh fuck, like you do not mess.
Yeah.
You don't even want to associate with them because of that. It was scary.
Yeah.
And I think that that's kind of what they wanted. They felt security in that,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, like they were there. I just don't ever remember interacting with them.
Yeah.
So,
No.
and I get that. I mean, especially as an immigrant, like it's gotta be scary as hell.
Well, I
So,
came
like,
when I was young, so
yeah,
that's why I feel like I grew up in white culture, right?
yeah,
I always had white friends and wanted to do what the other families did and try to assimilate and try to tell my mom, like, hey, we should get a Christmas tree. And my mom would say, no, I not waste money on that. You want tree? Go pick tree outside, put decoration outside.
did you ever?
I actually, in high school, I had a job. So I bought our family our first Christmas tree.
Oh,
It was 3 feet tall.
mm,
Went to the dollar store, grabbed some decorations,
I love
and
that.
that was our tree. I did it myself because my mom was not going to spend money on that,
Sure.
which is fine because that's how we survived. We were never hungry. We always had clothes on our back, owned the house we lived in because of the sacrifices she made and said, we cannot buy a tree. You're not getting Halloween costumes. Go grab a pillowcase or whatever, figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't know. She just not cut corners, but didn't focus on, I feel like all the extras The Western
the Western world
materialistic.
does.
Yeah.
And we were fine, you know.
Did you feel fine though at the time? Like, or did you
Uh,
feel left out?
as a teenager, I yearned for some material things. Oh, they got a Varnage sweater, like the Levi's pair of jeans. I really want Levi's.
Which is so typical, I think, of
Yeah, and I
anybody,
think that's
right? It's not.
even
But
my kids now,
yeah.
they don't need anything, but they still want what other people have. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to buy that for you.
hmm
So I think that's just like a kid thing.
For
You know,
sure.
you want something that you don't have.
Yeah.
But I never felt deprived. I never went home and thought, wonder what I'm going to eat tomorrow. Well, I thought that because I always thought about food, but I wasn't,
Not because you were hungry.
not because I was hungry. So like looking back, I'm like, I was fine. I grew up in a great childhood, even though it was very different from my peers.
Mhm.
But thankfully, I had a lot of friends who invited me over for dinners.
Mhm.
And
You got your
that's-
meatloaf.
I got meatloaf, I got turkey, I got sandwiches,
Mm.
had chicken noodle soup, which became my most favorite thing in the whole entire world. I still love
Who
chicken noodle
doesn't love
soup.
chicken noodle
There are
soup?
people that don't like it.
Probably white people that had to eat the Campbell's crap.
Well, it's funny you say that. For my 10th birthday, that's what I asked my mom for my birthday was a case of Campbell's chicken noodle soup because it was my favorite.
Oh,
My mom couldn't
gross.
make the white
She didn't
people
want it.
chicken noodle soup.
And she said yes because she wanted the cans for worms.
Correct. Win-win for everybody.
And
So I think I got for my 10th
It's-
birthday
okay.
was a case of chicken noodle soup, and nobody in the family was allowed to eat it. It was just mine. It was the
Wow.
best. I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah. Other kids are asking for Barbie dolls. I wanted chicken noodle soup.
Yeah. I don't know if that's Asian or if that's just you, because I could see you asking for your 50th a case of chicken noodle soup. I could see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But I just remember.
Oh, chicken noodle soup.
It's delish.
It is not Campbell's, but chicken noodle soup is delicious.
Campbell's is the only chicken noodle soup.
Okay, agree to disagree on that. That's your deprived Asian child coming out. Campbell's chicken noodle soup is not good. If they want to sponsor our podcast, I'll eat it.
You can eat it straight out of the can.
Straight out of the can.
Or
Oh,
like-
I used to do
Or
that
like
with
canned
SpaghettiOs.
ravioli.
No, I used to do that with SpaghettiOs. That was my jam back in the day.
Yeah, that was a special treat for us too.
Mhm.
Spaghetti.
Yeah. Oh, I love SpaghettiOs.
I could eat SpaghettiOs.
We could do that. Campbell's, call us.
Did you eat ramen growing up?
I briefly remember, I think because there was a popular craze about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're like, oh, we need to try this. And I didn't love it. I remember my sister loving it. So
But you
it
had
would
white people
sometimes be,
ramen. That's why.
yes,
You didn't
yes,
have
yes.
like actual Asian.
I
ramen.
just remember I just had it the other day and you looked at me weird
and I
and
took
with
a bite,
disgust.
and it had a little bit of Campbell's chicken flavor in it, so it made me a little happy.
Okay. But yeah, I got the white people ramen
Yeah.
because my one daughter loves that. But we don't eat it often because I don't even, is it plastic? I don't even know.
It's just
But
high
it just-
sodium.
Yeah, it's just delicious.
Well, in 7th grade, when the ramen craze happened,
Yeah, so there was one, right? Yeah,
Yes.
I remember that.
I'd asked my parents, "Can you buy me a case of ramen? I'm going to bring it to school." And my mom says, "Why you
You
get
get
some
drug
ramen?"
dealer?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. She thought I was giving it away, and I said, "No, Mom. The case would be like $5.99 a case for a 24 pack. Okay.
Mhm.
I used to sell it to the white kids for $1 package. I made good money.
You're legit. Okay, you're just like your mother.
Yeah. I was like, I bought it $5.99. I sell for 24. That's a $20.
That's a good deal.
I mean,
she
well,
proud of
that's
you?
the- yeah. She was like, "Good idea, honey. Good
Mhm.
idea."
I keep
I'm like,
buying.
I know ramen. They love them for a
Oh,
buck
wow.
a pack
You were
at
a
lunchtime.
ramen dealer in
was-
7th grade.
I was a ramen dealer.
Hilarious.
It worked out great because they eat it dry. So they open up the pack, you crunch it up, put the seasoning on top, give it a shake, and like
Yeah,
I still
yeah.
eat it dry like that too. So
Mm.
do my kids. We like it as a snack.
We put in Oriental salad Oh my gosh.
It's still a thing. I'm like,
had-
what? Oriental salad still?
But yeah, with the ramen
I've seen-
and the
yeah.
and the cabbage, it actually is really good. The name is problematic, especially because only white people make it.
That's weird. It's weird. I had it once and I was like, did somebody put fucking dry ramen in this
Cabbage slaw.
It was the strangest thing.
Actually,
It's
I
still
think
very
it's delicious.
strange to me.
Oriental salad.
Make it. We should make it.
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't know how. Do you know how?
I don't think I've ever made it.
Do you have
But
to put
it's not-
mandarin oranges too?
Some people do. It's like, how can we make this more racist? Let's throw in mandarin oranges. Why did mandarin oranges become an Asian thing?
Just the name. I don't even know.
Never have I ever eaten mandarin oranges at my in-laws' house. Like, it's not a...
No, well, we do serve fruit for dessert,
Sure, yeah.
but it's not just
Mandarin
mandarin
oranges. Right, no, I know. In like, broth, not broth. What is it? Like, syrupy in the cups.
Oh, those are the
That's
worst. Those are disgusting.
filled like Del Monte,
Oh.
mandarin oranges in the syrup, and then you can drink
Oh,
the sugar syrup.
no.
We'll eat those on air too. Yeah,
Fortune cookies as well.
I see. No,
Those are not Asian.
they're gross too.
Yeah.
I don't think they're good, but I have so many in my house. Because Asian people love giving my kids fortune cookies. They give them by like the handfuls. We do have some hookups at Asian restaurants, so that's usually why. But Oriental salad.
Oriental salad.
Let's make some. That sounds good.
No, it does not. at
Yeah,
all.
it does. It is good.
Oriental salad made by an Asian person, but Oriental white people salad does not sound good to me.
What would be the difference? Like, what's in the Cambodian salad?
Shredded cabbage, shredded chicken, peanuts, some carrots, cilantro, some fish sauce.
I think you're describing an Oriental salad. Now you just throw some dried ramen on top and you call it a day.
No. Oh, wow.
Yes.
See, it's same. It's so different.
Oh,
I think
it's
it's all in the spices.
No, I'm sure.
That dried ramen.
You were just talking about how you ate dried ramen.
Yeah, like from the bag, not mixed with like cabbage.
What's the difference?
And the dry ramen you guys use is the white people dry ramen. It's not the Asian dry ramen, so it's completely different.
Okay. We're going to do a
Ramen
blind
is different
taste
ramen. It's
test.
completely different.
Blind taste test. On our food episode, we're doing a blind taste test and we're going to see if you can tell the difference.
1000%.
I'll put money on
You
it.
just smell it and tell the difference.
No, we'll plug your nose. You're like, nope.
No.
White people ramen.
Oh, Asian ramen. You can tell the difference.
Okay. So let's keep this conversation going in our next podcast. I want to fast forward a little bit through time to maybe our teen adult years,
Yep.
family expectations with dating and romance.
Yeah. Were you allowed to date?
Yeah, I guess I did.
Okay.
I don't know if I was allowed to, but I did.
Yeah, no, we were explicitly told no boyfriend.
Oh, I will share the secret of how my mom knew if I was having sex, which is so fucked up. But I'll share that next episode.
Okay.
So weird.
Tune in. I can't wait to hear that. No, I don't want to hear it.
Catholic whites. It's cringy,
Yeah.
but I'll share that next episode.
Okay.
This was fun.
We'll mix it up next time.
All right. Hey, Inner Ice Pod. We had a blast mixing it up with you today. So use your chopstick or your fork and go ahead and click that like and subscribe button. Also, follow us on social media to stay up to date. We would love to hear from you, so send us an email sharing your interracial stories. See you next time.